Match number 5, our main event of the evening, would see Tim Lee's open challenge for the GPW heavyweight title, answered by former ORW community champion Duffa. Now, this one, two Essex Rescue favourites absolutely going at it. We'd see a handshake and a hug before this match even started. Early even exchanges I'd expect from these two. And then Tim Lee would hit a huge slap that would send Duffa to the outside, and they were fighting to the fans, with Tim Lee then delivering a brutal chop to Duffa whilst he was seated on a fan. He'd then go for another one, but he'd inadvertently chop the rim post, and Duffa would respond with a chop of his own on Tim Lee. Back inside, Duffa would hit some corner attacks, which would send Tim Lee back to the outside, and Duffa would hit a moonsault from the apron. Again, the action would move back inside, with Duffa hitting a go-to-sleep and a running flying forearm for a near fall. Duffa would then hit a vile Irish whip, which would twice, which you'd see the ring move from one side to the other. You literally saw the ring move on the ground. Tim Lee would respond with a big back body drop, then 10 punches in the corner. He'd head up top. He'd go for the moonsault, which would be countered. Duffa would go for Valhalla early on. He'd miss. Tim Lee would hit the Trouble in Paradise, and both men would be down. This one was absolutely epic, honestly, at this point. Eventually, Duffa would respond with hitting the Valhalla, but only for a near fall. He'd go for the double underhook facebuster on Tim Lee, but Tim Lee would sit up like it was nothing, Undertaker style. Just literally sit up. It was, the adrenaline must have been pumping. Tim Lee would then follow up with a double underhook facebuster of his own. He'd even hit Valhalla on Duffa, but only for a 1 count, because I feel this fired Duffa up, feeling his own move being used against him. The Valhalla stomp is a vicious move. Duffa would respond with a German suplex. Tim Lee would hit a lariat for a near fall. Tim Lee would then head up top. Duffa would hit a super kick. Tim Lee would hit a super kick. Duffa would hit a spear through the ropes. That diving spear that he does, almost like a buckshot spear through the middle ropes for 2 3/4. And I mean, it was 2 3/4. Literally, the referee's hand was about that far from the mat. Duffa would then go to look for the hidden blade, but he'd miss it as Tim Lee would absolutely collapse to the mat. Literally, don't know how Tim Lee managed to avoid it. He literally collapsed. Tim Lee would hit a sit-out spiked pile driver on Duffa, as Duffa would literally manage to somehow roll out the pin at 2 3/4 again. Oh, it was, honestly, the fans were in awe at this point, absolutely in awe. Duffa would then hit the Valhalla on Tim Lee, with Tim Lee literally begging him, saying, "I have nothing more to give, just finish me, Duffa." Honestly, like Ric Flair, Shawn Michael-esque a match at this point. Duffa would then kiss Tim Lee on the head before hitting the hidden blade, and we would see a new champion crowned. Tim Lee would even get hold of the mic. He'd drop a promo about how much he loves Duffa and present Duffa with the belt at the end of the match. This match, honestly, what an epic match it was. Honestly, main event worthy of any company. These two wrestlers pushed each other right to the very limits. It was emotional. It was heartbreaking. It was backbreaking. There was sweat. We didn't have the blood, but we might as well have had, sweat, blood, tears, emotions. The fans on the edge of their seat. This match had everything. It had it all for a main event. It was just an epic encounter. Honestly, you had to be there for this one to experience it, folks. It was just that good. Tim Lee, he's defended that GPW heavyweight title with honor, with pride. Obviously he is ORW GPW through and through. The man loves the company, and he's one of the best that I've ever seen do it. I love me some Tim Lee, and to see him lose in such a dramatic fashion, just wow. But Duffa, congratulations, you put your heart and soul on the line for this title. You vacated your previous title for this title opportunity. and you delivered an absolutely spectacular match to the fans. These two, honestly, absolutely brutalized each other in the name of wrestling. If you ever get a chance to see either of these two vastly, fantastically talented individuals in action, thoroughly recommend you do so. For yourselves.